let's talk some racing, although that's a stretch because the biggest bit of competition that's happening in the NASCAR Cup Series at this time period is the continued legal battle between 23XI Front Row and NASCAR. There was all sorts of things that occurred. Basically, in the last couple weeks, NASCAR filed to dismiss it. Then 23XI FRM refiled the preliminary injunction. And then there was a lot of information that came out from NASCAR's side of the argument, which was that they would not remove the clause in the Stewart-Haas racing charters that FRM and 23XI, apparently have acquired in terms of them releasing them. Because NASCAR basically, when you acquire a charter, it's contingent on NASCAR basically agreeing to that transfer, right? Which I think is a pretty typical thing across most sports leagues, et cetera, where if a team is transferring, it has to sort of be, allowed. And so that kind of puts those in a bit of question right now. Where else are we at, Landon? That was my summary of what I was thinking about and seeing. As our resident legal person, what am I missing?
Well, I don't know. It's just like we've said, keep following this story. It's very interesting to me. Obviously, you start to see, if you follow Bob Pockrass, I think he's covering it the best. And you can kind of see NASCAR's position in all of this. I think it's, when we first started talking about this a couple months ago, all this public opinion and perception was in the team's favor because they were the only ones that had their message out, right? Mm-hmm. Now that we're starting to see NASCAR filings and responses, I think you're kind of starting to see what NASCAR's position in all this is, and it seems pretty aggressive to me, which as it should be. But I think in one of the most recent ones, NASCAR made reference that there is no charter offer available to those teams right now. If they want a charter, their only option is to win this lawsuit. I don't believe that to be true in the end.
Yeah.
I think that the settlement, whatever this settlement ends up being, if there is a settlement, 23XI and FRM may go all the way with this. But if they reach a settlement, I do believe that NASCAR wants 23XI in the charter field. I think they want FRM in the charter field, and they want things back to where it was. But it is interesting to me that obviously in court right now, NASCAR seems to be pretty aggressive about it. So,
yeah, and to expand on those SHR charters, the question is, are they kind of in limbo at that point? Was there a provision? Did they just both buy $20 million pieces of paper that they can't even acquire at this point?
Well,
does SHR keep that sort of thing?
My question
I don't
for
know
you,
the number is 20, by the way. I'm just assuming it's somewhere around 20, from what I understand.
My question for you, and maybe hopefully this doesn't give us hurt the quality of our show here if you don't have the answer, but
oh God,
do we know
that's never been the case for anyone?
Do we know that 23XI and or FRM has actually transacted for this charter? Have they paid for these charters? Do we know anything about that, or is it?
I do not know.
Okay, because that is an interesting dynamic here. If they're buying the charters, or have bought the charters, or have a contract to buy the charters, is there kind of another lawsuit here that's
team versus team?
Yeah, is
that's what I was thinking about. Like, is there a provision that, like, if NASCAR doesn't accept the transfer, then it's a null acquisition? I would assume. Now, assumptions.
Well, you would think that SHR would be sitting here going, "Hey, I would have sold my charters to somebody else."
Yeah, well, I don't. Like, in their position, it's like, I don't care. You said you were going to buy it. Here's the contract. Where's the money?
Right. So did they pay for it and then lose it immediately, or did they not pay for it and then they strung SHR along, and then is SHR going to sue 23XI for breaching their contract for purchase? Like, I don't. What?
Messy. We
need to get we might need to get Adam Stern back on the show to find out what the details of that are. Because I bet you he knows.
I know. We'll definitely have him next week. I tried to get him on yesterday and today. He's on a little bit vacay, so we couldn't get him on. But we definitely will, because he's a friend of the show, and he always knows great answers.
Josh,
to this
put
stuff.
that in our notes for next week's show. If we're gonna have a show next week, I think we will.
We're gonna build the show in real time, by the way. Don't worry.
It'll be great. We're gonna have an awesome show. It's just gonna be.
Yeah, put that in the notes for next week, and let's see if we can get Stern to answer those questions, because that is that's another interesting dynamic here is who owes who for the SHR charters.
By the way, there's definitely people listening right now thinking, like, do these guys even, like, put a notes together? Do they have a rundown? Do they follow anything? Is this just... They just throw up to some mics and press record. It basically is that. Yeah.
Let's go.
There is,
I can
it's all
assure
we
those
do.
people I write up a whole show notes, whether or not you guys choose to follow them.
Right.
I did have a question though. In
What?
lieu of that, if that money's been transacted, is that not basis for an approval on the preliminary injunction? Already there?
I don't know.
Legal.
That's
I
too
don't know.
lawyery for me.
Yeah, way too.
Okay.
Josh, you
I'm-
love to get lawyerly.
Sorry, my mom's a
legal.
lawyer, so it's in the blood. I can't help it.
We're gonna start a new pod, which is the unlawyer lawyers, and
I mean,
we
the
try and
team,
figure out legal
2311 or Front Row could have purchased the charter from SHR, and NASCAR could have approved that transfer. And then, if the new owners of the charter did not re-sign a charter agreement with NASCAR, then they lost those charters too. But I don't think
Yeah.
that's what happened. I think that there's sort of like some kind of contract to purchase between SHR and the other entities, 2311 and Front Row, is what I understand or what I think happened. And so now it makes me wonder if they're not able to consummate that sale or, complete that sale. What are the implications of that? Is Stuart Haas, like, who are they selling their charter to?
Who's it going to? Is it limbo? Also, I love the use of consummate for a charter sale.
Yeah. What they're all doing with each other.